If you're wondering whether your baby is actually hungry at night or just waking out a habit, then this video is for you. Because one of the hardest things as a tired parent is not knowing whether to feed, soothe, or give your baby space to fall back asleep. So today, I'm going to walk you through the signals that babies use to tell you when night wakings are about hunger and when they're actually about sleep cycles or routines. And stay with me because later in this video, I'm going to share the one sign that parents almost always interpret as hunger when it's actually the opposite. And fixing this alone can dramatically reduce night wakings. But before we start, please note, this is not medical advice. This is my advice as a mom and certified pediatric sleep consultant. Always get the approval of your pediatrician before you reduce any overnight feedings. The timing of your baby's wake up tells you a lot. True hunger wakings usually happen at predictable biological times, not randomly every sleep cycle. If your baby wakes at the same time every night and feeds fully, that's often genuine hunger, especially in younger babies. But if your baby wakes every 45 to 90 minutes, immediately after being put down, or only feeds for a minute or two before falling asleep, that's usually not hunger. That's a sleep association or difficulty connecting sleep cycles. And in a few minutes, I'll explain the subtle feeding pattern that tricks parents into thinking their baby needs food all night long, even when they don't. Understanding timing helps you respond intentionally instead of just guessing every time they cry. Here's a big clue that most parents miss. How your baby eats matters more than how often they wake. A hungry baby eats with purpose. A tired baby often comfort. Some signs of true hunger is strong sucking, active swallowing, full feeding on one or both sides of the breast or a full bottle, and settling deeply afterwards. Signs more of habitual awakening include quick snack feeds, falling asleep immediately, and waking shortly again after being put to sleep. This often happens when babies rely on feeding to transition between sleep cycles. If you're unsure how much your baby should be sleeping at their age, grab my free sleep chart linked below. It helps you understand sleep expectations so nights feel less confusing. The goal isn't removing feeds. It's just making sure that feeds are actually serving hunger, not habit. One of the biggest reasons babies wake hungry at night actually starts during the day. If babies don't get enough calories during the day, they naturally make up for it overnight. This is where strategies like cluster feeding in the evening or having multiple feeds close together, having full daytime feeds, and making sure that feeds aren't rushed can make a huge difference. Some babies snack during the day and then reverse the cycle at night because it's quieter and easier to focus. And in a minute, I will explain one simple evening adjustment that often helps babies naturally stretch their first sleep without sleep training. When babies are well fed during the day, their bodies are much more capable of longer nighttime stretches. Here's where things get confusing. Babies naturally wake at night. Much like adults, babies move between sleep cycles every 45 to 90 minutes. If baby falls asleep while feeding every time, they may look for that same help when they partially wake overnight. This isn't manipulation, it's just familiarity. Helping babies practice falling asleep without always feeding them just allows them to resettle themselves between cycles. My free sleep chart also shows age-appropriate wake windows that help reduce these cycle wakings, and it's linked below for you, so grab it now. Sometimes the solution to night wakings isn't more feeding, it's helping sleep become more predictable. Now let's close the loop because sometimes babies really are just hungry. Growth spurts, developmental leaps, and younger age all increase nighttime calorie needs. Ways to help reduce hunger-based wakings include making sure that you offer full feeds during the day. Consider cluster feeding in the evening. Again, that just means feeding multiple times within a few hours span. Using a dream feed before you go to bed. That basically means before you go to bed, go into your baby's room while they're sleeping, take them out of the crib, keep the lights either off or as low as you can, offer them the feed without waking them, and then put them back in their crib. Or avoid letting baby fall asleep halfway through feed. And here's the adjustment I mentioned earlier. Often, simply making sure that the last feed of the day is calm, unhurried, and complete helps babies sleep longer because they're not waking from partial hunger. Bonus tips: doing this feeding outside of their sleep space also reduces sleep associations. If you want help knowing how long your baby should be sleeping for their age, download my free sleep chart below. It takes all the guesswork out. The goal isn't eliminating feeds. It's just making sure feeds happen for the right reason. If your baby is waking all night long, it doesn't automatically mean that they're hungry and doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. When you understand the difference between hunger cues and habit cues, you can respond with confidence instead of exhaustion. Start by observing timing, feeding patterns, and daytime intake. Small adjustments can lead to longer stretches surprisingly quickly. And remember, don't forget to talk to your pediatrician before you start to reduce any overnight feeding. Now that you know the 5 signals babies use to tell you night waking isn't about hunger, you might be wanting to learn about the best sleep environment that promotes all-night sleep. But how do you do that? It all starts by watching this video next, because if you pair what you just learned with what's in this video, it's way more powerful.